Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. We excitedly return to our version 2.0 of our Plants vs. Zombies x Vampire Survivors mashup. Indeed, in case you missed it, last time we basically started the project over in an attempt to refocus things. But while the additions over time were great, they didn't mesh with the concept. And so we're trying again, this time by attempting to fit Plants vs. Zombies gameplay into the gameplay of Vampire Survivors. But before we go any further, remember to leave a like if you enjoy the video, and be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes, and with that said, let's get to the code. And before we get to the plants, let's talk additions. Lists for explosives and our secondary passive plants were created. The explosion list is the array that keeps track of any and all explosives that occur in our game, meaning they're no longer tied to plant behavior or sequences. The second list now works passive plants back into our game, similar to the initial active plants list created last episode. In other words, some plants such as the Doom Shroom and the Ice Shroom have been moved to this new list. Instead of placing them in the world to trigger, they now activate automatically on a continuously repeating timer, similarly to how the pentagram works in Vampire Survivors. Another similar case is the potato mine, which is now also a passive plant. While mines work just as they always have, as a secondary plant, this means that a new mine is created on the player's location every X amount of frames. They remain physically in the world until detonated and will not spawn anywhere already occupied. The blower is another plant which has made the transition to the secondary/support branch. Instead of existing in the world, periodically the blower will simply push enemies away from the player's position. Now, not all passive plants are simply transfers. Some, like the cherry bomb, are totally new. In fact, the cherry bomb now works exactly like the cherry bomb from Vampire Survivors. Periodically, a cherry bomb will be tossed from the player, targeting a nearby enemy. It creates an explosion either over time or on collision with an enemy, utilizing our new explosion array system in the process. Now, these reimaginations are what's got me so excited about this project, so let's look at one more example. The jalapeno has also been somewhat reimagined, and it currently works as a hybrid of the clock lancet and the Song of Mana from Vampire Survivors. A trail of fire appears from the player in one of 4 cardinal directions, shifting 90 degrees each time it triggers. And like Song of Mana, the trail grows over time. Eventually we'll throw some flames on this one, but for now we've just got collision boxes, which are actually working properly now. And that was all I was able to get to this session. Now, a lot of these were some of the more obvious ideas, but it still took a ton of time to set up. And while using the same plant system could have worked, trust me when I say that a lot was learned about my previous code through these last couple of sessions. In short, if you remember, sometimes there'd be instances where the plants seemed to be stuck in a queue. It was most evident in plants like the blower. Well, that was due to relying on every plant's behavior being part of a single switch. Normally not a bad idea, but given the density and abundance of code, there were just several errors in references and other aspects that inadvertently created that queue system. So yeah, as much as these sessions have been the revamp of a project, it's also been a ton of cleanup work. If you ever wondered why unused content stays in a video game, this is a prime example why. Removing some things, especially those that are somehow ingrained in the overall systems that, make the things run, it can be extremely difficult and time consuming, which is why for the most part a lot of the plants are simply transfers and reconfigurations of previous code. Not only does it wean out the unnecessary code that we're no longer using, but the repurpose also makes it easier on the workload. Anyway, we've still got a ways to go and I've got a lot of brainstorming to do, but this definitely feels like where the project should have headed 10 episodes ago. I'm glad we took the risk, and as long as things continue and we keep focused, they should end up being a really fun experiment. But that's just what I think. I'd love to know how you feel about this new direction and the changes/adaptations of these beloved plant units, so leave your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you enjoy the content and would like to support my ability to continue making it, consider subscribing to my Patreon. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.